Alrighty, my friends, I want to show you something real quick. In regards, if you're new to production music, I think this will help you a lot. Everybody's different. Every guitar player, when you're doing stuff with live instruments, is different. When I'm doing rock tracks, I tend to remember I talked about doing everything in 4 to 8 bar loops and stuff, or 16 bar loops. It's very important with production music, and this is what I do when I do rock tracks for production music. Now, some people may frown upon this, but this is something that is common with production music. And remind you, it's production music. It's different from writing your hit song and the song that's from within and the song that you're going to send to the masses. I too would record that differently than this, even though I would comp and arrange. This is called comping and arranging. In other words, when I was writing riffs, I would find drum patterns right here. I'm trying not to pay too much of this because this is for a publisher that does track everything that's done and will claim the copyright, but it doesn't hurt me. In fact, I will probably get a little chump change from it. Who knows? Maybe not. But the drum patterns, I use EZdrummer 3 on this. I love it. It has the whole bandmate feature and some cool features. But I use other drum programs as well. So here's some drums. And I want to find some grooves that fit the riff that I'm playing. Because one of the most important things, if you're looking for a vibe of a certain reference track, sometimes I'll stem split it and take the drums off that reference track if I can, and maybe put it in the bandmate and see if I can try to come close with it's weird because if you put just drums in there in that bandmate, it doesn't work as well as putting a guitar and bass or the whole track. I don't particularly understand that. You think it would follow that drum groove to the T. So I think there'll be some improvements in time from Toontrack on that. But regardless of it, that's pretty cool. I was kind of thinking about it the other day. Let's just put the bass track in there and put the guitar. But if you listen to the riffs that I'm doing, let's just do this. Come on. I double track everything. Now, what I did on this is some people will take one track and go hard left and the other track go hard right. That's the proper way of doing this. Now, I have an effect here I think it's called Infected Mushroom or something. I can't remember the name of the company. It's a wider plug-in. It turns that into a stereo track, which is really cool. And I just do 2 of them, and it really widens it. It's really cool. So, and I just do it in riffs and 8 bar loops. And I am playing that. I'm a guitar player. Take it different. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm recording different parts here. And it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. I'm putting together what part works. Here's the intro. That's the beginning part, which I think will go into this part very well. So, into this part. This is just another chorus part. Now, in production music, what makes it different is your percussion is different, maybe cowbell, something that differentiates it. That's what an editor likes. Sometimes one thing you think sounds samey, it's not. So the key here in rock is try to write maybe 4 different parts, maybe if you can, or 4 different variations of your theme. This is your theme, that riff you're hearing. But it may go into different parts like this. Like this. Chops up. Gives you a different vibe for different things for an editor. And let's see here. Right here. And this is kind of a breakdown part. And towards the ending part right here. Hear the drums pick up heavy pace. Well, it picks up heavy pace, and sorry about that. I had my my automation from a master track over here. Sorry about this. Let's get this moved back here. All right. Your drums are different, picks up pace. But I'll do something different here in a second. And it'll go into a different part that really picks it up at the end. That grand finale. You get the idea, you get the point. And if you notice that, like, I'm just sequencing this stuff together, folks, is what I'm doing. And then once I get it sequenced together and I get all my drum fills and everything done, I'll go in and I'll get presets in and I'll tweak them and I'll do drum fills last. Once I get it all put together how I want, I'll run my bass parts and I'll do the bass part for each section here. And then I'll go to put my lead parts, get everything tweaked, make sure it's mixed and mastered, and we're good. So I just wanted to kind of show that real quick. I think it's kind of cool for production music. Remind you, that's a part of production music, and this is why I say it's really not for everybody. But if you love music enough and you want to do this, this is some techniques that are a part of it. It's almost like filming a movie or something, or a TV show. It's like, so we're going to do this scene and we're going to do that scene. Production music is a supporting actor. You know, it's in the background. It's almost like being extras in a TV show, if you really want to look at it. The music sets the emotion. Most people aren't really paying attention to it like it's a hit song, even though there are hit songs in TV shows that play, but it's not, for the most part, it's not really under dialogue. All right, folks, so here's the end result of my sequencing here. As you know, right over here, I cut these two parts out. And a lot of it is you want to record as many parts as you can because it's like scenes of a TV show that some are going to make it and some aren't going to make it. And this is it. Like on this very end part right here, I had actually right here, the solo, just the riff playing by itself going into this. That riser is very important too there on that. Now, I had this part, hold on one second. You're not going to hear that because let's back this up real quick. Let's back this up so we can hear it. Well, come here. This part here, I had that in front of here. And it took the momentum out of it because you had this riff playing here. The main riff playing by itself. And you went in this and threw it off. Instead of keeping the momentum right here with the drums. See what I'm saying? Takes it to that ultimate ending, that cymbals that picks up the pace. Right here is a part that was just too monotonous right here. On the this was too much over right in this area. We already had some breakdown parts, and you get the point and you get the idea. You just want to do what works best. Now I had to keep this at 2 minutes, you know. Right now, I'm not going to just completely delete those, but I'm going to get them out of the way. So, if you saw what I did earlier, I'll show you. I may as well just play this thing. I don't care about the copyright thing. It may benefit me in turn for, you know, YouTube video or something. But here's the track. I haven't done the bass yet. That's next. You'll notice I'm trying not to talk loud over this because this E-cam is different. If you notice I'm talking real loud, sorry about that, it's the headphones. And making sure I have my drum fills and stuff and crashes between the parts. But you see the different parts. See the drums change? Same guitar part theme, but it gives them other options, and the lead parts may differ. See this part your verse part, the drums are different. Gives an option, more of a chorus feel with the ride. There we go. Kind of the same chords. Not so samey. See, a third part within this thing wouldn't have worked. It's too much. See if this transition's right. Go. Editors like that, man. It's almost lead ins. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Let that cymbal ring out. It's going to get you right at the 30-second version off these 2 bars. 2 seconds is about the far as you can go over it, and you can slice that down into 30. A lot of times they want you right at 30 seconds, so you have to kind of figure that out. And it really is off of just 1 bar of that. But if you notice, it's like, okay, I had 8 bars of this and 8 bars of that quickly, and it seems like, well, shouldn't have gone longer. That's not the point here. And if some of you have been doing production music, you know exactly what I'm saying, is let the editor loop that and take it further. He's going to create this track, and as they say, Frankenstein, he's going to edit this and take different parts how he wants them. He may take the lead parts out, just do this. This is, if I put the bass on this and I don't do any lead parts, it's basically a narrative version as well. And your narrative version would end up being just drums and bass only, which I do in this case, your full, your narrative underscore mix, your bed, that's the 3 terms of a underscore, or drums and bass only, 30 bumper stinger for this particular publisher. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. All right, so I've got this thing sequenced. And whatever you do when you're doing production music, and I've learned this, whether I'm just doing riffs and just keeping it that, or I'm doing lead parts, one thing about that is the lead parts need to just be simple. Don't get into a lot of crazy leads and stuff that are distracting, and I'll show you here. This might get a little crazy, but I'll show you. I got an idea what I'm going to do on this part. It's kind of cool. So, but I mean, here I've got the bass and everything. Don't get it all this. Don't do all that. That's what you don't need to do. Instead, keep it more lines over like this. You hear what I'm doing over top of that? Top like this. Some of those octaves. Stuff that coincides with the production. Keep that in mind. So when I get done with this, we'll do the alt mixes and I'll show you what I'm doing. Alrighty here, let's see here. We are going to go over the alt mixes on this real quick, and I'll show you what I did. I'm just going to show you what I did instead of doing it. The last video I did this, I was on my trip for my cruise there, and the audio is horrible, so I want to do something. This is with a rock track, but the principle still applies with whatever track you're doing. Now, a lot of the 30 seconds that you're lining up, which is going to be the hardest for everything else, because it's going to depend on, like, your BPM is going to determine whether you can get a solid 30 seconds out of 8 bars or 16 bars, or whether it's kind of an odd BPM to where you have to be creative and cut a section that leads into it. And you may have to do that. I've had to do that sometimes. So in this case, 16 bars got me 30 seconds. Sometimes it goes 32 seconds, which is as far as I can go on with this particular publisher and fade. But this one ended up 30 seconds on the money because my BPM went up 15. It was 140 on the last track, so it was like 32 seconds, but 155 was the BPM, as you can see here on this one. So let's Let's see. Now, you know, I did the full mix. Obviously, I rendered all that. That's these two pieces back here I didn't use, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Those are gone. We'll get those out of there. I'm not going to use those. I've committed to everything I'm going to commit on this track. And like I say, this is public. This is production music. So don't marry yourself to it. Don't get married to it, guys. It's production music. You've by now probably have seen interviews with composers that are saying the same thing. It's just production music. It's not your next hit song. That's the beauty of this. So, all right. So I got the full mix. I had all my lead parts in it. These here, and it had the bass and all that. And down here, you'll see my 30-second. That you'll see there's a cut right there. And I'm going to show you, and there's a sting riser. This particular publisher requires me to put a riser in front of the stinger. Now, I will tell you a good practice, and you didn't hear this earlier, is at the beginning of your production track, it's probably good to have a lead in. When I say a lead in, have a drum roll of some sort right here. I want you to listen to something here. Okay, well, we could listen to something here if we had some volume. What's here? I think you've got some volume. I just didn't hear it. You hear that drum roll at the beginning? That's at the beginning of that track. So when I play the whole thing, it's a lead in. It kind of gives an editor, right? We know it's coming in. For some reason, editors like that. For some reason, I don't do it as much as I should, but I should be. When you have a good drop, like a break, that riser in front of that last part is good right here. You know, it's really good. Let's see here. Gives really good options and stuff. So we've got the full track here. Let's take, next thing we did was we took all the leads out. I took all these out, and you just have the original part without the leads in it. Without the lead parts in it. Now I haven't played you this track with the lead parts. I haven't done that, so let's do that real quick here. Give you an idea that don't get complicated. The lead parts are just a part of the track. Don't get complicated. Look at that top part. Alright, here comes the next one. You hear the little stuff like that. Keep it simple. It's production music. You don't want it to distract. You don't do that. Now the cool option is they take all these leads out. Your narrative version is just the original for the leads. By itself, there's an option. You see where we're going. If you're new to production, this is going to be an idea. There's a theme, the same way. So you hear that. Now, we take all these leads out of here. I don't want to take forever on this video, but I want to give you a good idea. You see these leads are out of it? Drums change right there. No leads, no leads. At the end, this version right here without the leads is probably going to get used more than any of them. You ask, why do you do it? Again, it's options. If the editor can use it, then it's all it is. It's options, my friends. It's all it is. Now, let's get this here. 30-second. I'll play it for you and I'll show you. Basically, I just took 30 seconds. I started about right here. If you see where my cursor is right there. This last 16 bars ended up being 30 seconds. And you see my automation where it fades out on the master right there. So from here to here, ended up about 30 seconds. Again, it depends on your BP and what you're doing here. So I rendered out my 30 second here, and I'll show you. And I basically, when I rendered it, I put it in my file folder. I put it in my file folder right here. All of my alt mixes, I put my individual tracks, I save that on the hard drive, all these alt mixes in your session. And then I'll take the tracks and I'll upload them to an additional cloud. But you've got your 30 second right here. Right here. Last 16 bars. Just 30 seconds of it to the T. You get that, everything else comes much easier here. Because basically, in a nutshell, you got your 30 second here. I just took the 30 second and I brought it into the session right here. And I cut it in half. So in other words, you've got 16 bars. So go up to bar 9 to 16 is your bumper. Basically, your bumper is half of that. So here's your bumper. That second half of that. Hold on a second. Second half of that riff. Easy peasy. Second half of that riff. Didn't get any easier than that. Now we're working up our stinger. Now, some people require two different stingers, one longer and one shorter. Basically, it's just a half of a bar, maybe a couple chords going into it, and the short stinger is just that last chord, boom, straight out. But basically, we cut this part right here, our stinger. As you can see, it's generally, see that last chord, it goes, it rings out, and that swell. This, a lot of times you don't have to put a swell in front of it if you don't want to. This particular publisher requires I do that. One of the owners used to be a editor, so you know. So let's in the case of this, I'm just going to bring this in. Let me open that up. So basically, what I did is you come back here to the end here. Let's line this up. Our range. Stop. Right to the beginning of that swell, and I solo those two only, so here we go. Well, that ain't gonna work. Here we go. Stop. I know what you're doing. First thing you gotta, when you cut that stinger, mute this part right there. Now, you gotta cut it right there, so you have to mute that part. It's the easiest way of doing it. When you bring that audio in it. Now, some people just in the session like to just do their stingers in the session if you got a lot of MIDI, and I could have done this with straight audio, no doubt. But some of the MIDI notes, the MIDI chase, it just doesn't work when you're rendering that, and I've tried it. It's just easier to bring the 30 second in here and chop it off the 30 than up here. You don't have to go down through all these tracks. You have one stereo track of audio. It's a lot easier for you. There's your stinger. A lot of times there's a decay if it's my tension tracks, as you heard before. So with that said, I keep that in there. I mute that and I mute that, and I'll bring my cycle range back here. Make sure that I'm lining everything up to the end right here. There it is. I'll save my audio, and there's the session. Just keep everything in that session, but render all your audio tracks. You don't have to do the alt mixes or anything like that. You have the alt mixes in the file, but you don't have to bounce this. You just want all of your audio tracks, and that's important to do that. So with that said, that's it. I keep everything in a file folder, and it's done, folks. I hope this helps. And if you got any questions, just let me know. That's a rock track, and that's pretty much how I edit things. If you have any questions about editing or alt mixes, don't be afraid to ask. If I can't get the answer, I'll find somebody who has the answer. I promise you that one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Be cool. Bye.